It's kind of crazy to think that it's already been 2 years with Cybertruck, or almost 2 years. November 30th of this month will be 2 years. November 30th, 2023, Tesla held the Cybertruck event down in Austin, Texas for the first 25 deliveries. And a lot has happened since then, including some pretty major updates that Tesla has put out for Cybertruck, but that they're not really talking about. In fact, I'm headed right now to try out one of, if not the biggest new update or upgrade, if you will, that Cybertruck has received. Now, real quick, while Jeremiah is on his way, I want to talk about two things. First, public opinion, and secondly, build quality. I know that a lot of journalists and YouTubers kind of like tiptoe around this part, and for good reason, but let's just go ahead and talk about it. And this is not me getting political in any sense of the matter, but if you're thinking about buying one of these trucks or you're just interested in it, it is something to know. People are going to let you know their opinion on this truck. Now, to get to the point to where you can casually drop $100,000 on a dumpster, you probably don't give a f about the opinion of others, but they will let you know. However, despite what you see online, at least in my experience, in my area, I've gotten so much more love than hate. It's like a 10 to 1. A few thumbs down from the local Reddit mod, but in just the last week alone that I've had the truck, I've gotten like 15, 20 like thumbs up or like good wave gestures. Also, the kids still love this thing. We had it parked on the drive for Halloween with the front trunk open, using it as a bench to sit on and hand out candy. Kids were coming up, screaming Cybertruck, wanted to look at it. But yeah, just know the attention aspect is still there. I still get people staring at me. I still see people on their phones taking pictures of it. When I pull up in a parking lot, it turns heads. Like the attention aspect is still there, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. As for build quality, it's definitely come some way. This is actually a late Foundation series Cybertruck, which future Jeremiah will talk about in just a second. And even this is so much better put together than some of the early builds that I got to try. For example, this little window trim piece right here, you'll actually see there's this kind of little bump right there. And that's because it's now riveted. But I remember being at the Cybertruck delivery event and pulling on this piece right here on some of the early builds, and it literally felt like that I could rip it off. I had a 2025 earlier this year and was super, super solid. Also, the tonneau cover actually works on this one, and it works perfectly, right? I hit it, it comes all the way down, no problem at all. I've had multiple early built Cybertrucks just on loan, whatever it is. It seems like there's always problems with this tonneau cover. Like I had one where I had to essentially sit here and constantly tap it to get it to go up and down. This one though, it's great, it's perfect, it works. I've been using it. I've actually been using this like a truck the past week or so that I've had it. But yeah, all around exterior build quality just seems a lot tighter. Interior is actually something that I can't talk about, as I've never actually had a Cybertruck with like a bad interior or, you know, like creaks and rattles and stuff. This one's sound system is messed up. It's like busted in the back. But no, besides that, like I've never actually had problems with like weird creaks or rattles, excluding the steering column, which future Jeremiah will also talk about here in a second. Overall, build quality, it's definitely an improvement. Man, it's crazy how just easy this thing is to maneuver. We have arrived at a version 4 supercharger that, as of, I believe this happened about a month and some change ago, Cybertruck on version 4 superchargers can now do up to 325 kilowatts. And we have arrived with 7%, meaning that we should be able to pull the full 325 kilowatts. So let's get out, plug in, and see if we can't hit this new max charging speed. That plugged in. All right, here we go. This is the fastest I've ever seen a Tesla charge. 323. Come on, give me 2 more. I got 1 more in me, come on. We're coming down. I'm curious how long we'll hold over 300 though. There we go, under 300. At 20%. All right, looks like we are just about to dip under 200. We're currently at 32%, 204, 200, there we go, 199 at 33%. We've currently spent $11.71 at 35 cents per kilowatt hour, which is on average for around me. All right, so it's finally happened. The sun is peeking through at just the right angle to where this is blinding me. So right here, flip this down, flip this up. Problem solved. We've already tapered down to about 90 kilowatts. We've actually been holding that since about 65%. I am going to let it go ahead and go all the way up to 80 just to see what we're pulling at around about 80%. Checking in here now, 79%, 1 minute remaining. Yeah, 90 kilowatts, pretty much pegged the entire time from like 60 to 65, all the way up to 80. I actually didn't know that it told you what time you started. So yeah, we started at 3:04. It's currently 3:40. So that's what, like 30, 37, 38 minutes. Now I already briefly mentioned maneuverability. And yeah, like if you have not driven one of these trucks, please go and schedule a demo drive. It's something that you just gotta experience it. Me explaining it it's not gonna do it justice. It is easier to park than my Model 3 and definitely my Model S. And of course that's because of the rear wheel steering or the 4-wheel steering and the steer-by-wire. In fact, both of those things have received updates since Cybertruck came out. The rear wheels went from being able to turn 3 degrees to, and keep in mind this was over a software update, 10 degrees, equating to roughly about a foot better turning radius. As for the steer-by-wire, you know, funny enough, I don't think it takes a lot to get used to. Like, I think you actually get used to it really quickly. It's going back to a car without steer-by-wire that it kind of messes you up. And that's also received an update since Cybertruck came out. In fact, it was the same update that improved the rear wheel steering. It just feels more natural now. Steer-by-wire, it's pretty much like a video game. If you've ever used one of those video game wheels, that's essentially what it is. And Tesla has just continued to improve the on-road feel. So like when you're on a gravel road, right, it feels like a gravel road through the steering wheel. And then at higher speeds, you have improved stability, less body roll. And as someone that's not like a steer-by-wire fanatic, I've seen some people that don't want to buy a 3 or a Y or an S or an X because Cybertruck has steer-by-wire, so why don't the other Teslas have steer-by-wire? I bought a 3 because I actually want to feel the real road. Same thing with the S, a little bit less on the S, but especially on the 3. Like the 3, I do not want steer-by-wire. But for bigger vehicles like Cybertruck, it's definitely a good thing, and I really, really like it. And while we're on the interstate here doing 70, let's talk cabin noise. Cabin noise on the newer models has been improved. This is a 2024 Foundation series, so it is a late Foundation series, hence the no white on the doors or the dash. You don't have to get white anymore. You can get a darker, oh, this guy is swinging with that trailer. I'm on FSD, which we'll also talk about here in a second because FSD 14 just started going out. But yeah, I did have a 2025 Cybertruck a few months back. I only had it for a few days, and it's definitely quieter than what this is. In fact, my Model 3 is at about 64 to 65 dB. My Model S is about 61 to 62, which I know doesn't sound like a lot, but that's actually like a 25 to like 35% decrease in like ambient noise. This Foundation Series Cybertruck is reading right at about 64 to 65, same as the Model 3, but the one I had earlier this year was definitely much quieter, like on par with my Model S, if not like slightly above that. Model S has an active like noise cancellation in the headrest. This doesn't. Newer models, better interior cabin noise. And alongside improvements to cabin noise on the newer models, Tesla has also updated and tweaked the suspension on the newer models, while also providing some improvements to all owners via OTA updates. In fact, when you come in here and you swap it from relax to focus, it no longer feels like you're driving a dumpster, if that makes sense. The dampening of bumps and absorption is the best in that mode. I think that's really the highway cruiser mode, right? You put that thing in relax and all of a sudden all the bumps start lightening up. But you know, if you're on a back road or just you're not on the interstate and you don't want to feel as floaty, you throw that thing in focus and it really tightens that suspension up. And if you all know me, that's the mode that I've been riding in. I've had the lady in here. I wish she was in here. She could tell you all. She thinks the Model S is still more comfortable. I think purely from like going over bumps and feeling them, I think Cybertruck has my Model S beat. But it's a car, this is a truck. They're two different things. And the fact that you can swap back and forth and Tesla has made tweaks, yeah, you can really feel it. And this isn't even one with the hardware suspension tweaks. This is just with the OTA tweaks. Sorry, FSD keeps yelling at me. Actually, speaking of FSD, that's another big update. This truck still doesn't have a normal autopilot, which I've seen some people now that the standard models are not coming with normal autopilot saying that it's because Tesla is preparing to do so. Yeah, dude, it feels so floaty through here when I'm in relax. Let me put this thing back on focused. It still feels like a truck, right? But now it just, you don't feel like you're gonna in the corners, right? Like you feel a lot more planted. It feels so much better. But yeah, I've seen some people saying that it's because Tesla is preparing to launch a FSD version of normal autopilot, and that's gonna be the free one nowadays. You all know my opinion on it. I'm hopeful that we'll get the supervised version for free with every Tesla, and then whenever they eventually do get to the point to where you no longer have to pay attention, then that's the paid upgrade $8,000 package. Technically, Cybertruck at the time of making this video is on 14.1.5, which is the newest version of FSD. Non-Cybertrucks, the highest that they're going up to right now is 14.1.4. You all can go watch my drive on that last week in my Model 3. But yeah, I've seen a lot of Cybertruck owners raving about FSD 14, so that's really nice. I've also heard that they have fixed the steering column squeak. This definitely still has it. It's just like, I don't know if y'all can hear that. This should have never been part of a $100,000 truck, so I'm glad to see that this was fixed. Now, speaking of things that should not be part of a $100,000 truck, let's talk about my one complaint with this truck and a few nitpicks. First is the rear view mirror. Tesla, what is this? You all are one of, if not the most advanced car companies on the planet. And I was in a Toyota Venza from like 10 years ago that whenever you could see out the rear view, you could just use this as a normal mirror. But then whenever you'd have the car loaded up, you'd be able to flip this switch and this would turn into a screen with a camera feed and you could still use your rear view mirror. Put a camera somewhere through there on the outside, on the top, and feed it into this. Problem solved. Now, because of that, and Tesla knows that this is pretty much useless, they've decided to put the rear view right here on the screen, which honestly works. And you can like adjust the zoom. You can make it an ultra wide, or you can make it 1.25 times, or just the normal one. It works, it's great. However, this is Tesla's biggest screen, 17 inches, bigger than the 16.5 inch in the Model S and X, bigger than the 16 inch in the new Model Y Performance and the Model Y L, and bigger than the 15.5 inches in 3 and Y, right? It's great, it's a beautiful screen. And if you were gonna put a rear view, you would want a nice big screen. However, what I've found, because this is so big, and I'm staring like this, I have to look all the way over here, right? So if you don't know, you can actually move it right here, but then it becomes significantly smaller. This would have been a perfect opportunity to make the screen rotate, right? You pull it from this side, angle it towards you, and now you don't gotta look as far away. S and X have it. They are the same price point of this truck, $80,000, $100,000. There's no reason this shouldn't have it. And it didn't even need to be motorized, right? It could have just been like what I have in my 3, which I really love, right? I just pull it toward me. It's great. I'll actually have that one linked down below. And I'm sure that there are third-party rotating screen mounts that you can get, but I would have liked to have seen one directly from Tesla. Like I said, same price point as S and X. Those have it. This doesn't even have a manual one. And lastly, no instrument cluster. Now, I owned a Model 3 for 4 years before getting my S, and I never once thought, man, I miss having an instrument cluster. But now that I've had one and it's vertically integrated by Tesla, I love it so much. Plus in Cybertruck, it would make so much sense as they could move all the basic information from here to the screen and be able to just have more utilitarian stuff over here, right? Like you could have your special widget for when you're towing, or, you know, your charging outputs, or not your charging, but your, you know, your outlets, your power feeds, stuff like that. Like you could have a little widget, you could clear up this whole spot right here that's being taken up, transfer this to an instrument cluster. I'm sure they could find something to do with all this screen real estate if we had an instrument cluster. Plus, having full screen maps is really, really nice. Like you can do this and you have your maps up here, but you can't bring it all the way back this way to have full screen maps. The rear view mirror is the only real complaint. The other two are just nitpicks, but I think it's something that Cybertruck could benefit from. I doubt we would get an instrument cluster, but at least a rotating screen. Overall, anytime that I have a Cybertruck, I really enjoy it, which seems to be the consensus with most owners, at least owners that weren't like banking on the range extender. Pretty much every owner that I've ever spoken to says that they love the truck. And if I was a truck person, seeing as I'm already within the Tesla ecosystem, yeah, I would heavily consider getting a Cybertruck if I didn't tow. I think 300 miles and a good charging curve is really all you need when it comes to road tripping and EV. After like 300 miles, that's 2.5 hours in a car. Like I gotta get out, use the bathroom, just take a break for a second, especially if I'm driving. Plus, people severely underestimate how long they're actually at gas stations filling up when they do have to stop at a gas station. But nonetheless, when you start adding a trailer, weight, all of a sudden that 300 miles becomes 100, 150 miles. And at that point, I feel like that's a pretty big drawback. But fun fact, the statistic is, I think it's 70% of truck owners never tow anything in their life. The other 20% occasionally, and then the other 10% like on a frequent basis. So I definitely fall in that 70%. Like I said, I have been using the truck for kind of truck stuff. I've been using it as a glorified van pretty much. Flipping the back seats up, loading it down, and then transferring stuff back and forth from our warehouses. And it's been great for that. So if I got one, it would definitely be a Pavement Princess, like most guys that buy trucks, but nonetheless, I've really enjoyed my time with it. Let me know your all's thoughts on Cybertruck and the updates that they're continuing to push out. If you are new around here and you want to see more Tesla-related stuff in your YouTube feed, then feel free to subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.